Yeah, do you know something? The last time you messaged me, I don't know, I kind of got that impression that something had happened or you weren't quite feeling, I don't know, you just weren't quite totally yourself. Greatness means different things to different people, but the kind of thing that you're doing, the kind of message that you're trying to give to other people requires a certain delusional quality about you, and you can't lose that. You can't. Losing that is to lose the losing that is to like lose the foundation. It's like losing the seeds that you've sown and you're trying so hard to water. I can't explain how important it is for you to maintain that delusional quality, as Will Smith called it.
In regards to writing, I do totally understand what you mean about sharing it before it's ready, and like whether actually sharing it is about validation. I think it's also about inspiring others, and it's about just yeah, I think it's important to put your voice out there, because if you've got something to say, I think people have kind of like a sort of a right to know what you got on your mind as well, because you don't know the power of those words. And I get what you mean, like it shouldn't lead to like egotistical things like being gassed or whatever, but that's more of a personal thing. I don't think, knowing you're about that in any way whatsoever. I think you're obviously at a different point in terms of sharing this stuff than I am, because for me it is a little bit about validation, and it is about growing my confidence and knowing that my voice is valid. But I mean, I love your stuff, so obviously I'm gonna be like, go team share. But share it when you feel good about it, I guess, or if it's a priority for you as well, like wanting to share it or not. But I would always say people love your stuff and it influences people's thoughts, and I think that's always very important.
Yeah, bro, I fully understand, man. Like, as a fellow entrepreneur myself, fam, like there's never a point where everything's done and we've got time. Like, literally, it's impossible to have everything done, because there's always more to do. And if there's not more to do, we'll create something new to do. So I fully get you, man. You just got to do what's right for you, bro. And at the end of the day, if it's that, and it's minor. So yeah, man, you decide, bro.
It'll be around for a while, but it'll pass. It's just one of those things. But you just got to keep strong for your family and yourself, and just continue with your life. It's like one of those moments you feel kind of stuck, but the right move is to keep on moving on, keep moving.
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie. My confidence, I don't know, it just buckled, and I feel like there's so many things that I'm supposed to be and supposed to do and supposed to be strong and supposed to, be that person, that voice that people look to, and they expect a certain resilience. But just keep hearing these different voices and critics and opinions and comments and questions of how I'm supposed to do this and how I'm supposed to do this, and should have done it this way, should have been better here, this is not good enough, change it, correct it, do it again. You should be doing it like this. Why did you make this mistake? Change it, correct it. It's not good enough. It hurt, man. In the last mixtape, I said, you are a force of nature, and that you're born to be powerful, you're born to be great, and it's just about unlearning. And here I am, trying to unlearn. And I don't know what will come. I don't know what's going to happen next. And I almost feel like my voice was completely taken away. I feel like I was pushed down, put away, told to be quiet, told to shut up, told to sit down, told to do it like this, told to be like this, told to become this. This is how it has to look. This is how you have to feel. I don't know. I just want to be free, you know? I just want to be me again. And I just want to fly. I feel like that bird in one of the lines that I wrote that's trying to reach the sky with these lead wings. But you know, we keep going, we keep growing, we gather strength as we go, take another step and keep moving forward. And if there's one thing that I fundamentally know, it's that they may have a lot of things to say, but ultimately it's in the past now. I'm not going to use that as an excuse. I'm only going to use it as fuel to keep growing and evolving and unlearning, rediscovering that I am a force of nature. And I'm not done yet. How many people have the power to readjust, to put a higher purpose first, and just do whatever it is that I have to do to evolve and to grow in a way that doesn't carry that pain forward, but you just turn into this lotus that blooms forward in the swamp, and it's still white and pure. So I'm not gonna stop. I'm not gonna stop. You can't heal what you deny, and I see the truth now.
The only knowledge that matters is the one that you apply. So let's do that. What am I competent at? What am I competent at? Write it down. What am I competent at? I'm competent at maths, algebra, English, drawing. This time is for you. What am I competent at? What am I good at? If you don't decide, the world is going to decide for you. And that's why we're doing this exercise. I don't know what you're competent at, but you do. Now I want you to think of the one goal that you have right now. The one goal you have right now. I want you to just think of that goal, and I want you to ask yourself, me achieving this goal, what is the consequence? What's the consequence for you? If you don't know why something matters to you, what's the point? Some of you, when I asked you in my session earlier, what do you most enjoy? You said sleeping. And that's why Rosa Parks got on a bus. And a lot of people mistake this. They think that Rosa Parks got on that bus and randomly she decided, I'm going to stand up. I'm going to sit down, sorry. But actually she decided beforehand, as a consequence of me sitting down on this bus, I'm going to advance the civil rights movement. She had a goal. She had a consequence. What is your consequence? For some of you, it's helping your parents. For some of you, it's helping a sibling. For some of you, it's advancing education, becoming a leader in your organization. What is your consequence? If you don't know it, how can you hit a target that you can't see? Who do you follow on Instagram? Write it down. Who do I follow? Who do I rate? If I look at your phone log, your history of the last 5 people you spoke to, who is the last person you had a real meaningful conversation with? If it was no one, that's a problem. If it was your parent or someone you admire or someone you want to be like, that's good. So let's talk about the 4th C. The 4th C, if you want to be motivated, if you want to achieve something with the potential that you have, is choice. Choice. I choose to sit at the front and take notes. I choose to drive 150 miles to help people. I choose to sit down on this bus. I choose. You don't get to choose for me. And I've been saying that my whole life, and so have these people in the room with these t-shirts on. I choose. You don't get to decide. You do not get to decide what subject I choose, which uni I go to, what I become. And that's one of the biggest realizations for me recently that we've been discussing is no matter how much you may try to bury me, I realize I'm a seed and man, I'm just gonna bloom. So come at me. And that's the same thing I want you to realize, that in any moment, in this moment right now, the next 10 minutes, you have a choice. And that choice is, we've given you the 4 C's. But you gotta go home and you gotta think about, yeah, like they were a bit mad and a bit passionate and they gave out bare money, but how do I apply this stuff? The only knowledge that matters is the knowledge that you apply. So what do you choose? If you want to stay motivated in life, if you want to be as great as Malcolm X, you got to realize something. A man who stands for nothing will fall for anything. What do you stand for? What is your legacy going to be? Who do you hang around? What do you represent? Not just in person, but your influence. Even in the sessions today, look, right now, some people still talking. You're having an influence on your friends right now. She ain't your friend right now. I'm trying to help you. And I'm saying it not because I'm trying to be judgmental or negative towards you, but I just want to be real in this room and be 100% honest. If you don't tell me something about the flaws I'm making, how am I supposed to know? I can't watch my own back. So I need you to watch my back. That's community, but you have to choose those things. So if you want to be motivated, what do you want to choose? There were only 4 people earlier, 5 people, who raised their hands and said, based on my own self-assessment of me, I'm doing the best that I can do. Only 4 or 5 people. I didn't say that. You said that. And I appreciate your honesty, and that's where we want to begin our journey today. Is we are going to give you a bronze coin. We're going to give you an activity, a lesson plan, a tool, a technique, some of which we've spent days and days and days, paid thousands of pounds to learn ourselves. Things that are used by some of the top CEOs in the world. And instead of going to Coca-Cola or to Deloitte or to Diageo, all these big corporations, and helping them to become richer and make more money, we're like, nah, you know what? Let's go out where no one else goes. Like he said, KSI ain't coming here. But we're investing in you. I'm investing in you. And that's the bronze coin that each of you has in this room. What are you gonna do with it today? What are you gonna do with it today? What are you gonna do with it today? It's not talk to your friends. What are you gonna do with it today? I'll say it again. You know what to do already. It's not that you don't have the skills or the knowledge or the talent or the capability. It's not that you don't have someone to work for. I'm going through the most challenging period of my life ever. And there is one person in the world who texts me every single hour saying, are you okay? And that's my mom. That's who I do this for. That's what drives me. What drives you? Because I said it earlier and it went over your heads because you lot were gassed, but only dead fish go with the flow. My job and the team's job today is to stop that from happening, because real talk, when you look at the studies, it is young people like you that they're like, these are disadvantaged young people, and the gap before you started education and you end education is getting bigger. There are kids in private school in Harrow right now, they get tutor after tutor, opportunity after opportunity, because of where they're born and how much money they have. You are already in the gap of haves and have-nots. That's why this is serious. You can do something about it, because on the other end of the stick, someone out there prays for what you take for granted. But I want you to understand something. I volunteered in Kenya, in one of the worst slums in the world. People don't think they're bad there, they just want education. I've volunteered in a shelter for teenage girls that have been sexually and physically abused by their own uncles. One girl got pregnant, had the baby because she was raped. And yet, when I ask her, what is the bronze coin you want? I want education. Everyone knows it, and there is a big difference between getting schooled and getting an education. The root of the word means to draw something out. I don't know you. I want to get to know you. I want to know, what are your strengths? What are your skills? What are your weaknesses? Where can we go? Because there is a kid in Kenya, there is a kid in the Calais refugee camp I went to, there is a kid in Botswana that prays every day, kneels on the ground, begging for what you have. And what do? You abuse it. You neglect it. And you know that's true because only 5 of you put your hands up. Just 5. Every single person in this room has the capability and capacity to change the world. And I'm not just talking about you're becoming a politician. I'm talking about there are issues in this area right now that you can change. There are issues in your friend circle that you can change. There is someone in this room who's feeling mad anxiety, and guess what? I feel it too, but I'm still showing up. That's why I'm here. I got 60 seconds left. What choice are you going to make? Decide now. Just don't look at anyone, in yourself. You know what? Just for one day, if any one of your friends comes up to you that you know is a distraction, just be like, listen, I'll chat to you at 3, yeah? Just for today, just for today, I'll chat to you at 3. But until then, there's some work that I need to do on the inside. I don't want your likes. I don't want your attention. I want you to change. And so that's the choice, is we are here on hardly any sleep, a bit of caffeine, and I'm good to go. Let's bounce. But the choice is, are you gonna be here today? And I said it earlier on, conformers or reformers. And you see this door over here? This is what's gonna happen next. You're gonna walk through this door and you're gonna decide, are you gonna be a conformer or are you gonna be a reformer? See you later.
This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. Let it shine, let it shine, let it shine.
I once heard that you shouldn't be afraid to eat alone when you know what you bring to the table. And embracing what sets us apart can be tough, but bro, you're more than able. Because it's easy to be made aware of our mistakes and suddenly become shameful. But really, this journey of accepting ourselves makes us unique. We can't be labelled. You're a master of words and can go toe to toe when writing or speaking. And you choose to find ways to change the world when most people are sleeping. You commit to helping those less fortunate and not be in the corporate world competing. Now, it's not to say that those in that world aren't good people, but with all you've sown, the question is, are you ready for your reaping? I respect that you always self-assess, so I don't want to impede, but in your metaphorical garden, it's time to rid yourself of one particular weed.
A weed that grew deep and cast grey doubts on my dreams. In time, I let my thoughts grow weak, and no words could I speak. Behind closed doors, my efforts were being judged and my intentions being critiqued. I believe we're like islands, separate on the surface, yet connected in the deep. To me, the elite are really those that sow dreams others reap. They may have tried to bury me, but in the darkness emerged a seed. I guess the pain I was feeling was just rebirth being unleashed. On my path I have bled, and many times been beaten. Through all that's been said, my purpose will never be weakened. My method may be simple, but I formed each wound into wisdom. It's a great gift being given to let anyone enter my kingdom. If we want to grow, we have to be the ones to claim our real freedom.
This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. Let it shine, let it shine, let it shine.
I'm carried by the support and the words I receive from such good people, and for a seat at our table, you must speak with the presence of being equals. We're here to make a difference, not feed this world's evils. Those who know my story know the traumas that ran deep. In my heart I always knew the path to follow was the one that taught peace. No matter how you were broken, you can still bloom in response to your defeats. I'm ready to step forwards, now I've gathered my own light. The path may not always be clear, but within is where I found sight. This time I drop the shackles, spread my wings and take flight. I'm ready to take this mission to brand new levels, places and heights.
This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. Let it shine, let it shine, let it shine. Let it shine, let it shine, let it shine.
Hey, hope you're enjoying the mixtape so far. It's sponsored by me. If you're enjoying the ideas and the messages that I've been sharing here, definitely go ahead and check out my Inner Compass online course. It's a 6-week program that helps you to find your purpose, build good habits, overcome procrastination, conquer your anxiety, find your purpose in life, and develop meaningful connections, community, and relationships. So if you're interested, go to my website and use the code Lotus for a special discount. Let's get back to it. Peace. You know, I guess I feel for myself that this happened, and like, I know that I'm a good person, and I know that I'm dealing with it in the most beautiful way, and you've helped me to understand and see that. And I think a part of me doesn't. Sometimes I feel like I don't have hope. And I feel a bit isolated from people, even though I'm doing my best to connect, because of what I've gone through, and now accepting, you know, how rare that is, not just this moment, but in the past too. You know, I've been through so much, and I think I'm also trying not to create that barrier that you can't understand me because I've been through so much pain and you haven't. So it's gonna feel, I'm gonna feel sad. And with everything, any task I'm doing, project I'm working on, a meditation sitting, it's like, this space is so important because this space is for Keshav. And if I don't love myself enough to do that, then, you know, my habits have just become practices of self-love. I also know in my mind, I have the capability, the skills, the intention, the opportunity to give something today. I don't need to give everything, but I can give something. Selflessness is important to me, and I'm aspiring to be selfless as a leader. But leaders need encouragement and gifts and support and cheerleaders too. And having not had a cheerleader, it's such a, it's very refreshing. Things were never supposed to turn out this way. This isn't how you pictured things going back when you first started. Full of hope, full of glowing ambition, full of spark. I just need you to hold on. It's going to be okay. You will be okay. You will find a way forwards, a way out of this. Just don't pay any more attention to that doubt that's swirling around you. There's only one person who has to believe, one person who can turn it all around, and that is you. I believe in you, even if no one else does. I'm cheering for you. What happens now, it can change you or it can reduce you. And I get that you can't move right now and you feel like you had the wind sucked right out of you. So maybe you don't need to run. But you crawl, you creep, you inch yourself forwards. You do what you can, even if it's just 1% more. But just keep moving forward. Hold on to that hope that something different is possible. It's not always about winning. It's about putting the effort in. That's what counts. Being the person that was courageous enough to fight in the arena anyway, covered in dirt, covered in scars. And yeah, maybe you're not perfect and you're a bit clumsy, but at least you're in there where it's not comfortable, but it is a challenge. The true master, the true leader is the person that understands what you do for you, that dies with you. But what you do for others, it lives long beyond. Your life is your lesson to the world. So don't judge it by what you're harvesting, but by the seeds that you plant. The seeds whose shade you might not ever sit under, but somebody else may. Stay free. Don't give up who you are. This isn't school where you need to follow a particular way of doing things or being. Take off your mask and share the truth that is really inside of you. People talk about change as if it has to only come from outside, from a leader or a book or a god. But it's all you. The summary of all that advice is to find yourself a mirror and change yourself. The real dirt is the one inside our hearts that we can't wash away with water, but only through real change and introspection. Don't resist the change. Surrender yourself to it. Let the tide of life be with you, not against you. All I need you to know is that if nothing else, you are special and you are precious. You don't need to do a whole lot to prove it. In fact, you don't actually need to do anything at all. You were born with it. You can't help it. It's contagiously infectious. You can be magnificent in being ordinary, like the small flower in a field of roses bursting with color. The quiet kid in the corner of the classroom with the stained trousers that are too long, a pair of crooked glasses, and the report card that keeps labeling him as distinctly average. Or the man who worked 20 years as a cog in a job that did nothing but pay the bills. But it still means something, because there was a day that you smiled And that smile lightened the mood that day in the classroom. There was a day where you were calm, you were consistent when the world was anything but. You were the kid who listened on a day the teacher was so stressed and overworked. Those bills that you paid for kept the rain off your family's back. You bloomed and the bee came, despite the fragrance of all those other roses around you. A system that not only are you a part of, but you're an essential ingredient for. This life, it's happening for your growth. You are better because of those obstacles, because of the grazed knees and failed attempts, the harsh winds that you learn to sail so well against. Life is full of hard moments, yes. It's full of pain, regret, failure, hurt, loss, heartbreak, yes. But when those moments bring you to your knees, you're in the perfect position to pray, to surrender yourself to something bigger and ask for help. So take a second, sit, kneel, breathe, release, and then get up one more time. Put one foot in front of the other and act. Go gently, with balance and poise, through all the hype and all the haste, and remember, what glitters isn't always gold. Where there is righteousness, there may also be silence. Speak, think, and act quietly and clearly. Listen, observe, be present, especially amongst the dull and ignorant. Every story needs the gift of a greedy listener. Nurture your spirit every day. Be gentle with yourself. Teach yourself a love the world has never known, so abundant that you can't help but let it ooze and overflow out of you. For you are a child born from stars, a part of this universe with every right to be here. I know you might not feel it right now, but things unfold exactly as they should. Sometimes life gets noisy, but keep working to maintain the peace with your own soul. And despite all the drudgery, all of the broken dreams and ignorance around, it is still a beautifully imperfect world. And it's not on you to fix and conquer it all, only to do what you can with what you have. It's always the false that makes you suffer, the false desires, the false fears, the false values, false ideas, the false relationships. So abandon the false and become free of your pain. Find the truths that make you come alive, and let go of the things that numb and pain you. Your heart is in the chest where you will find treasure. May all beings be happy. I'm tired of living in a post-truth world where sad isn't sexy and real is rare, where some make a sum to make our skin look fair, where leaving their house, some women get judged, even harassed for what outfit they wear. Then they walk down the street and these guys, they whistle and they glare, think wow, she looks nice, and they act like she's theirs. Take your hands off, bruv, and listen to the truth. You might be a big man now, but are you living with falsehoods? No one body is anyone's property. Coded words control and tell girls you should dress properly. But respect and equality aren't mere words, they're verbs to help us act in solidarity. Is your mind a cage? Do you know who you really are? Do you know your own history and that you were born to be a star? Our ancestors endured so we could come this far. But maybe like the younger me you forgot and you're lost. You're chasing chicks to chirps at the bar. That won't fill the void that exists within your own heart. It's not just a question of how do we survive, it's a question of who do we want to be for our future and our pride. Hitting up some girl to send you nudes in the middle of the night, go to sleep bro. You're reaching and her no doesn't mean she's uptight. It just means no, she's not an object made for your eyes. She's a human being who has her own rights. There's no strength in a tree trying to live with dead roots. I'm here to plant seeds and help you map your own route. With all you've been given, what fruit can you produce? It's time to take the lead, may your dreams be let loose. Let's let loose all the pain we've suppressed inside. Let's look within at the biases we've created inside. You need to think different if you really want to thrive. There's clutter built up within your own mind. To me, you ain't a real man if you don't know how to cook, how to roll around rotely, enlighten yourself with a book. Read Chimamanda, she changed my outlook. In our brown man culture, we have a lot of self-hating lies, built to serve a man's power, gaze and lies. Once we dig deeper, we'll let this system die. We've got the wits and the sense to make a model that's more kind, fair and wise. I want to see us stamp our mark on the culture we create, a culture where we cry, whether it's after a heartbreak or cause today my heart weighs. Freedom is being open when you're in a hard place. We're given so much and to some we're just seeds, but our time is now. We have to take the lead. We have to stop interrupting when any woman or person speaks. We have to see their strength, not see them as just weak. They don't need your protection, they need you to learn how to speak. We have to speak out when she's the first to cook but the last to eat. Every time our family meets and you're enjoying that nice tea, remember, someone was slaving over the stove under some mad heat, expected to serve while smiling and grinning their white teeth. Your auntie, your mum, your sister, your friend, even the random person you met in the West End. They all have a story, a thread, a narrative of that time when they were at a wedding, waiting for jalebi, and auntie asks, Puttar, when will your turn be? I know you got a good job and a first-class degree, but have you found a good man yet, the one you should marry? The next time you hear someone use a word like dishonor, understand this: you need to stand with, shoulder to shoulder. Show support with your presence, physically and mentally. Clever words cage great birds into lifelong conformity, and if a man is what you want to be, you must speak out and learn about each of these fallacies. Some of us act like we're just another drone. Behind the painted smile, I know you feel frustrated and alone. Maybe your past was a weird, messed up home. Emotions were suppressed and you had to handle it all on your own. But you need to cry and vent, let your feelings out and pent. Don't become hollow like those other bland men. You were born to stand out and be a model for good men. What you bury has energy and can come haunt you again. Good brown blokes aren't unicorns or myths. Trust me, I've met many, they truly do exist. They just go about their life and stay hidden in the mist, but we need to do more and find ways to uplift. Most people are out looking for blessings from above, looking to a relationship, someone to show them love. But for me, salvation is simple, it's warm cuddles with my mum. You don't fall, you stand in love. So when I speak of loving, I speak of what I've promised. From one tiny acorn, you can create 1,000 mighty forests. In this brave new world, we have to become the heroes that we seek. That's why I'm out here trying to embody every lesson I wish to teach. Wealth grows where we exert energy. The difference that we see exists only at the peripheries, and at the center of every human being, there is an underlying unity. So stand up, speak out, and decide, who do we as men want to be? Come, follow me on an odyssey of unlearning. Growth never stops as these wheels keep turning. This journey goes inwards, may these seeds keep blooming. It begins with a tale in school aged 9. A kid with a dream, light beams from his little brown eyes. Long hair in a tail reaches way down to his thighs. Not a care in the world, free to run through life. But some kids teased him, said he looked like a girl. Why does he paint his nails and have his hair in these curls? Explained he was a boy, but some never believed him. Some made faces and others always teased him. One pulled his plaits, so he gave that boy a beating. A piece that doesn't fit, naively keeps dreaming. Finds solace in his books, and he never stops reading. In dark times, I realized I was a seed that needed to bloom. Rock bottom taught me more than any mountain ever could. Every hurt that I feel just helps inspire more words on a page. My heart may bleed, but its essence will remain. So I walk with the conviction of a made-up mind. Your seeds will bear fruit. It's just gonna take a little time. Grab another rung and continue on with your climb. I work for my people, not just for another piece of mine. My scars tell stories of how I continued to survive. So come, follow me on this odyssey of unlearning. Growth never stops as these wheels keep turning. This journey goes inwards, may these seeds keep blooming. I won't ever stop, I have to keep moving. One of my favorite things to do is to go surfing, and when I'm sat in the ocean looking at the water glistening away, and I can see the ripples in the water, I can see birds flying high around me, I can see that I have to remain totally present. Otherwise there's no chance of catching that wave, and life is a lot like trying to surf in the ocean. You go out there and you might have, and I've had so many days like this where I go surfing, where I have every intention to catch a wave. I have every intention, I'm really motivated. I got my gear on right, my warm-up went well. I did everything to the best of my ability. And I'm sat out there waiting, and the wave doesn't come. The ocean doesn't care. And then another day, I might feel really tired, my mind is all over the place, and the wave just comes, and guess what? Without thinking, I catch it. Or on another day, I'm bowled over repeatedly by every wave, and the board smashes me in the face, and I go home tired and frustrated. And that's the thing that I realized, is that there is so much in this world that you cannot control. Sometimes you won't know which way is up or down, and in your frantic frenzy you panic and try so desperately to swim to the surface or the shore. But in doing that, you don't accept what is, you resist what is. An awakening is seeing things as they really are, without resistance or judgment. The worst thing you can do when you're rolled around in the washing machine of a wave is tense up. So don't take things too seriously. Lean towards your own lightness. Learn to let go of your own heaviness and learn to be present to what you can control. And what I can control is, did I get on my surfboard and get out there? Did I make an attempt? And the perfect wave may not ever come. I may not have been able to ride it, but I was there. And at the end of the day, the best thing about it is I was out in nature enjoying the sunshine, enjoying the waves, enjoying being a human being, not a human doing, a human being. Transcending the story of myself in this state of infinite, effervescent presence. If you're someone who is going through a tough time right now, or you've been through one before, whatever it is that you're working towards, one thing that I've learned and that I want to share with you on this mixtape is ride each wave that comes with light feet. Let the waters wash over you without added resistance. Your life, your future, it's always changing. Just like the waves in an ocean, it's never fixed, and there is so much beyond your control. The more you try to hold on to a running stream, the harder it's going to be, and the more energy you're wasting. So I know it might feel hard at the time, and it was and is for me too. But we are meaning machines with full control of what stories we choose to give credence, conviction, and consequence to. So keep riding those waves, and I guess I'll see you out there. Peace. How do we truly learn to love ourselves? Self-love is a word and a phrase I hear all the time, but very few people seem to understand or practice it. We communicate it as this great cure that decodes all of our problems, but how do you apply it? The truth may have been told, but how do we realize it? What do we do to love ourselves? My favorite way to understand it is to think of it like an art form, that there is an art to loving. Turn your attention and focus inwards and learn, how do you love yourself? Who are you? How do you show up in the world? What has shaped you in becoming the person you are? What are your beliefs? Why? What matters to you? What kind of life do you hope to have? You can wait for life to bring up these dormant questions and raise them to the surface, and believe me, it will. Or you can be proactive and bring them to your attention and focus first, to dictate the agenda of your attention on the most important questions you will ever find the answers to. And just like learning any great skill, at the beginning, you may completely be lost as to where to start and how to practice it. You may completely suck. And on this quest, some of us face greater challenge than others. Some of us were cracked growing up. Some of us have been bruised, broken, abused, damaged, and faced losses that we still struggle to understand. Times and moments in the chapters of our lives that only looking back, we can see what truly was. The narrative that it created, the ripples that it left behind. Yet even this insight allows us to practice loving ourselves. Over time, we realize what our true needs are, what our true boundaries are, the things that matter and are non-negotiable for us. And once this realization dawns upon you, the next level is having the courage, even when your voice shakes and the anxiety builds, to have the strength to ask. You accept the level of love you believe you deserve. So I ask you again, what kind of love do you deserve? What are you willing to give? But even more importantly, what are you willing to tolerate and receive from others, but also yourself? Don't think of self-love as something you either have or you don't from one moment to the next. See it as a practice. Every day you work at your practice, you refine your skill, your understanding, your commitment, even in the smallest of ways. Daily rituals found in small, simple, invisible things. Just washing the dishes, a moment of solitude on a packed train, a glass of warm tea at the end of your day, a smile from a friend. Or large questions of choice and character that set the tone and agenda of who you are. The abusive relationship you choose to leave behind, leaving the security of a well-paid job in search of your honest adventure that beckons to your spirit. My point is simple. These are all practices of self-love, and like with anything, the more you practice making self-loving choices, the better you become, the more of a master you become. So stick to your boundaries, match what you say with what you do. Speak with abundant pride about what you do well. Speak with kindness and compassion about your flaws and mistakes. Say no to the agendas other people design for you, and hell yeah to your desires, dreams, and designs for your own flourishment. Learn. Anything that costs you your peace is a price too expensive. Learn to make hard decisions and own them. Learn to make the wrong decisions and then correct them. Learn that sometimes keeping the peace outside, holding your frustrations and feelings in, it unleashes a war within. And that ain't self-love. There's so many layers to it, and everyone's art of loving is different because every artist and canvas is different. Every person's level of skill is different. Teach the people around you how to treat you with your words, your actions, and your character. And a big part of it for me lies in accepting myself completely, utterly, where I am and where I may be at this point in time, accepting what I'm going through, what I'm feeling, what I'm thinking. It's okay. It's messy, but it's okay. Without seeking to judge or change and avoid them, embrace each pattern as it presents itself. The greater your level of self-acceptance becomes, the more self-love you will build. And as any artist knows, any form of great work, it requires that you show up with consistency, that you assess it again and again to ensure that it is continually refined. By writing your thoughts down, by expressing your honest thoughts and feelings in relationships, even in the messy, confused times, especially in the messy, confused times. Why? The higher your self-esteem, the more honest and open your communication becomes, because you welcome rather than fear clarity. And on this journey, what you'll notice is something about you begins to shift. The pattern begins to change. The healthier and higher your self-esteem becomes, the more you're going to attract similarly high self-esteem individuals. AKA, your vibe attracts your tribe. So send long, rambling messages to your friends, long essays, and don't ever feel the need to apologize. Respond with your full, honest, rambling self. Use this as a measure. What are you like? What are the people around you like? What do you watch online? Who do you watch online? The people you call, text, share secrets with, what are they like? Who do you attract? And who do you avoid from a place of fear? There is no greater barrier to loving yourself than believing that you are undeserving of love and destined for hurt. And maybe like me, you have been hurt and broken many times before. I know how easy it is to fall into this pit of despair and no hope, to feel tired and weary that things haven't worked out again. But question it. Question this story. Question the narrative that you feed yourself, and take action in alignment with who you choose to become. This is something you have full control over. If I have and build a high sense of myself, I experience myself as lovable. I have something to give. I'm not trapped in my deficiencies. When you believe you lack, you believe you have little to give. You see people as either approving or disapproving. You see things as what you can and can't do. Not that these are people I can admire and share the adventure of life with. When you don't feel lovable, unwittingly, you become a saboteur of your own love, out of a secret fear that you're designed and destined for pain, and so you choose those who won't choose you. You make a good relationship sour by finding ways to reject your partner before your partner can reject you. You place a limit on how happy you can be. You try not to be too happy in the present in case someday it will be taken away. But when you have this high sense of self-esteem, you have a high sense of how great your future can be. And just like you can't have too much physical health, it's not possible to have too much self-love or too much healthy sense of self-esteem. And these things are all internal. You can have a nice paid job in the city. Your dad can buy you a nice new car. Your cute selfies can attract all the likes and attention in the world. You can read all the books, travel to all the countries in the world, and yet still, none of it will fill that anxiety you feel in still moments where you have nothing planned. Still, you seek something, and still none of it will fill the infinite depths inside your soul. None of it will fill the loud rumbles of your insecurities. So work, dig, find, get coached, get mentored. Self-love comes from honoring and accepting yourself with all the baggage, all the trauma, all the relived triggers and memories, the mistakes, the inadequacy, the feeling of loneliness, of laziness, the improductivity, the productivity, the noble, lofty dreams and fearful terror of anxious days. Stick to the boundaries and habits you set. Have completely honest conversations with yourself and your friends. Measure the impact you had on others, that when you did X, it affected me in this way. Because if you don't find out those things, you're going to bleed on those who never cut you, and you'll pass that pain on. I know the wound wasn't your fault, but the healing is your responsibility. Let's not let the past dictate our futures. Loving yourself means not missing or being busy for the things that truly nourish you, for the people that truly nourish you. You can't fill yourself with someone else's everything. That stuff comes from the inside. So don't go to any relationship to take. Go to give. Be someone of tremendous value. I'm sending strength, love, and light to each and every one of you. going through a struggle or challenge right now. You are the canvas and you are the artist, so keep painting and keep practicing. If you don't show people your scars, how will they know the stories your wounds tell? Invite them in, those special ones, the ones with kind eyes and wise words, with big hearts and open ears, who faced every battle you faced too. They're in the arena with you, and the first person to invite in is acceptance of yourself, your mess, and your imperfection. It's all part of this beautiful being that you are. Peace. How did I go from my lowest moments that you're hearing in this mixtape to building the strength, resilience, and mindset that you're hearing in my speeches and everything else? Well, there's a group of techniques that I learned through my experience and expertise as a coach over the last 7 years. And if you'd like to learn those same techniques, check out my Inner Compass program. It's an online course that you can do at your own pace and use again and again. It comes with a free workbook and Facebook group. So as I said before, use the code Lotus and go to my website, keshavbhatt.com/inner-compass and check it out for yourself. Peace.
Don't burn yourself to keep others warm. As your energy and your presence starts to grow and you become more in tune, finally in tune, like a car, with your energy, your presence, what gives you life, guess what's gonna happen? People are gonna come on, they're gonna wanna come and take some of that. They're gonna come up to you and subconsciously, because you're vibrating at such a high level, such a high energy, and there's a warmth to your vibe, they're gonna want a piece of that. And if your boundaries are not protected, it's gonna drain you and it's gonna nourish them. You're gonna burn yourself to keep others warm, and that's a big part of the journey that I've been on. People very close to me, people in my friend circle, acquaintances, even people in the comments, people emailing me all the time, and I was feeling like a slot machine, you know, people just like putting money in, like, hey, give me this answer, give me this, take, endlessly, on repeat, thousands of emails, thousands of conversations, thousands of hours. Do you know how many hours of coaching I've given to people for free? They're not paying me for this stuff. I just wanted to give, and that's what I had to realize is protect your energy at all times. If you're training with a boxing trainer and they're teaching you how to box, they're gonna say, protect, the first thing when you watch a match, protect your face at all times. The same thing goes for all of you. As you become more and more and more of a leader, people are gonna look to you. And this is the problem. This is the problem, guys, that people don't always realize. Those of us who are giving more, those of us who have more resiliency, people expect us to be strong and they don't see the weakness. People expect me to be strong. They expect Keshav will deal with, like, he'll be good. But I still go through dark days, man. It still hurts. I still feel a lot of sadness, a lot of pain. And when I tell you my story, you're gonna read about it soon. You're gonna realize exactly what I had to go through. So when I tell you, not everything that glitters is gold, I really mean it. When I tell you that I am the lotus that bloomed forth and you can be too, I'm not telling you anything that I didn't go through, that I'm not going through. And there's a difference between people giving you their presence or their absence. Actions speak louder than words. You already know this. You already know this. Actions speak louder than words. And people can talk and say, you know what? I got your back. You know what? I'm here for you. You know what? I'm in your corner. And it's easy to text that. It's easy to send it in a WhatsApp or a Facebook message or an Instagram message. But do you know what? The people who've really been here for me when I've been down in the dark, sunken place, they just came to my office, sat down with me and said, listen, talk. They called me every single day. My mom texts me every single day, every hour, every minute. Are you okay? Are you okay? Because she feels that pain, and the people around you in your circles, have they really got your back? Are they giving you the gift of their presence without it needing to be explained? And yes, you have to tell people your needs, but sometimes you need the people around you to watch your back and read between the lines. Or are they giving you their absence? And I had to learn this the hard way, several deep cuts, several times, to realize, you know what? Sometimes I'll give you my presence when it's convenient. Sometimes I'm going to give you my absence when it's convenient. And that told me everything I needed to know. So mate, never, ever forget your power. It's strong. It is precious, 1 in a million. Like, do you know how insane your energy is? Think about the number of people that I've now met. And I'm not saying this because I'm some mad, special, crazy guy. I'm just saying I've had the fortune of going around the world to many different countries, to the slums of Kenya, to shelters in Botswana, to the refugee camps in Calais, to schools all over the UK, to corporations all over the world. So when I tell you you're 1 in a million, I really mean it. The fact that you're listening, you're here in this room right now, tells me that you've got that special power within you. And it all starts with finding yourself. It all starts with following yourself, finding your own path by walking it. No theory, just action. Following that inner compass. And we have to make sure, this is something I feel really passionate about. We have to make sure, number one, we create spaces where we are able to be vulnerable with each other. Where you know exactly what pain I am going through and exactly what my needs are. And number two, realizing that if you touch my boundary, when I set that fence up around my world, you're gonna meet my fire. Don't be the person, like I said, burning yourself to keep other people warm. Protect your energy at all times, at all costs. Be self-full. Be selfish, whatever word you want to use, I don't care, but be self-full. Seek those who fuel and fan your flames every single moment, every minute you're with them, because a person's energy, a person's vibe, it doesn't lie. You can feel it when I'm being fake, and you can feel it when I'm being real. And the final bit is we have to make sure that as leaders, we realize like we're an exceptional few. And that's not about getting egotistical or gassed or any of that, but just realizing like you're a special person walking a very unique and different path. And so therefore, these few people that we are, these individuals in this room, this little clan we've created here, we have to be here for one another, because there are 99% more people out there looking to take, consume, absorb from that energy. And it makes sense, right? In a dark world, when you find light, what's going to happen? Everyone's going to flock to it. So protect your energy. Make sure you create time for yourself and overfill your own cup. Give yourself so much love, so much time, so much energy, so much fun times, like play so hard that you have enough, like you're already complete before you walk home, before you go back to your relationship, before you go back to your parents' house to speak to them. Make sure you're full, you're nice, you're good already. And that is about community and remembering that your energy is so infectious. And so I just decided, like, I'm gonna take every bit of pain that I've been feeling, every negative setback, every obstacle, every mountain that I had to climb, and I'm not gonna put it on my own back. I'm gonna turn it into fuel. And this is version 2.0 now. So hear my story.
When you're on the right path and you're doing the right things, the things that you're supposed to be doing, that you know energize you, there will be signals along the way. And if you pay attention to the tiny little whisper, the tiny little nudges, there's so much that you can do. There's so much you can achieve and so much you can become. Unlearning the things that don't help us and learning the things that do help us. No one's gonna teach you that. And if you allow anything or anyone to infect your thinking, you can be led astray. And I don't just mean as in doing the wrong things. I mean not being at your most optimal level. There's always going to be that doubt, that question of people saying, just relax, do it this way, do this. But really, you have to have the conviction to say, no, this is my path and this is what I'm doing.
High above the ground, clear me for takeoff. I ain't coming down. Swear to my haters, flying through the sky. If you see me wave high, where I'm headed, yeah, where I'm headed, high.
If you're trying to achieve something crazy, great, amazing, you're really trying to make that impact, if you're really about this life, even 1% is enough to divert you on the wrong way and take you back to your mediocrity. And you can't let anybody infect that. And that's what I've learned. We gain power from what we eliminate, not what we accumulate. So throw as many logs onto the fire as you need to, and you make sure that you do whatever it takes for you to stay inspired, because most of this game is mental. Most of it is psychological. It's in the mindset. And I know every single person out there says it and you've heard it so many times, but let me reiterate to you, you can either be burned by pain or you can learn from pain. And once you realize that, everything else, it gets a whole lot easier.
High above the ground, clear me for takeoff. I ain't coming down. Swear to my haters, flying through the sky. If you see me wave high, where I'm headed, yeah, where I'm headed, high.
Because the moment you step outside those doors, you take those headphones out and you have those conversations, realize there are all kinds of agendas out there to move you to a different path. So you gotta hold on, and you gotta hold on tight. Peace. In the last 7 years, we've talked to over 7,000 kids, and those 7,000 kids have told us what the truth they're feeling is. They've wondered what the point of all this is. The pattern I've noticed is the gap gets wider instead of closing in. Success depends on what ends they're living in, who the role model they follow is, how much money their family brings in, and this gap, it continues to exist. Student and the teacher are caught in the same trap. We inspect a lot of tables, but where's the impact? We all know there's more to life than exams, tests or grades, yet we make their choice about doing what gets you paid. Our future seeds of change are being boxed and contained, another generation lost in pursuit of a paper chase. In the last 7 years, I've been in many rooms where change has been discussed, but we never go beyond the surface to create reforms and adjust. Teachers work hard only for their fire to burn out. Kids are losing hope and having their vision snuffed out. They lose all interest and then they act out. You think it's about them and say this defiance will be wiped out. But who really cares about a GCSE when we're seeing firsthand the effects of war, famine and greed? Does this prepare them well so they can take the lead? Too little of this curriculum's lessons are letting kids address the questions of how we can make corrections to society's biggest imperfections. We move with speed, but not with direction. Martin Luther thought big and showed the world a power of a dream, while their value is assessed against tests and mark schemes. Are we really going to accept this as the true value of a human being? We need to instill curiosity and a serious sense of seeking, so none of them are trapped believing their future has no meaning. I believe words have the power to heal and to wound. while thoughts have the power to reveal or confuse. So get them to check the news and see if what they read is really true, or let them be lost to what they might learn on YouTube. Memorized facts got chucked like another plastic cup. My people are together and now we stand up. Stop regurgitating facts and start freeing your own mind. Have the courage to build character and be kind, fair and wise. Caged birds think freedom is a crime. We are beings with wings. We must not crawl through life. It just feels like a new season. I just feel good. Back to myself today. Normally, I'd probably be more active, but at the moment, I'm not there. I am where I am. So I need more time in solitude because I'm having these triggers, and to be around, nature and space. Just having headspace, really important. Like I said last time, this space is so important, and these habits and practices are so important because they're for me. And loving myself means protecting and honoring that, because no one's going to do that for me. It's my job to do that. I'm not trying to be like everyone else, and I'm not everyone else. I'm very different. You have this murky swamp, and it's full of all this crap and muck. But yet, if you just look at nature, it's still able to produce this beautiful flower that is so pure and untouched by the surroundings. And so we are not separate from nature, We're these advanced chimpanzees with consciousness on a spinning ball of rock, and so we're such a part of this ecosystem. We're so connected. If the temperature shifts by 2 degrees, we're finished. And so if that can happen in nature, the same can happen for me. That that plant over there doesn't need a map or a guide. It just trusts its intuition and its growth, and it moves in the right direction towards sunlight or water or nutrition. And that's an idea that I've been exploring through creating that mixtape, is how do I become and represent that lotus in these experiences where I continue to have a growth mindset and I continue to decide, do you know what? Yes, this happened to me, and yes, I went through this, and yes, it hurt, and yes, it was unfair, but you know what? I still grew. I still used it as a catalyst to become even more bright and light and playful. And that's still a choice that I have, and that's my responsibility.
I'm sorry, which choice do you have?
So I just feel very aligned into that power. I don't know, it's just so strange. Like it really, something just flipped my head a couple of days ago. I was like I said, I'm actually a great human being. But it's just like a mushroom, A mushroom's roots go for miles, for often years. It's only when it has the right amount of water, nutrition, humidity, sunlight, and then it will sprout. But for ages until then, nothing happens. And then in an instant, everything can just shift. And I think that's what's been happening for me. I've been, really diligently doing different things, working on the conditions for healing, and then boom, it's crystallized. And yeah, tomorrow, I'm very aware that I may have another low mood. Don't confuse the seasons with the story. Because one day it may be rain, and one day it may be sunshine, but in between the two, that's where you'll find peace. Like, don't get too lost in the highs and lows, because they're momentary, they're fleeting, in the future I will face challenges. I will have,
Yes.
you know, moments of anxiety and fear and all that. It's
Oh, yes.
part of the human experience.
Yes.
So I think I just feel a sense of ease of, yeah, this stuff is gonna come up, but I'm a great surfer. So when the wave comes, like, I'll probably catch it. I've reached a level where my healing feels pretty steady and fairly complete.
Yes.
And I'm quite advanced in that
Yes.
chapter. And so now I guess the goals and the drive is re-emerging, and I'm like, okay, I'm feeling ready to run now. Like, where do I want to go? Where do I want to start moving towards? Nothing new necessarily, but just committing and establishing my intentions is the best way to put it. You know, what is my vision? Where do I want to go from here? Having re-established an even stronger foundation, and I already know what's going to come next in terms of the clarity, conviction, intention that I feel already now here. I know, like, the ripple effect will be huge in serving me going forwards, and so I'm excited about that, because I can close my eyes and I can see myself speaking in front of so many people, and speaking with a lot more heart and emotion and strength in my words, that I've lived this and I'm telling you, this is what I had to go through, and this is what I did, and this is how I got that result, and you can do the same thing. So when I say to you, you don't have to burn from pain, you can learn from pain. I'm saying it not from like reading it, but from realizing it. And so I feel awakened. Like, I genuinely feel awakened in that regard. And I say it with complete humility, you know, not that I'm some kind of messiah or I'm better than anyone, but just that this stuff works, man. Like, I've done the diet plan and I lost 10 pounds, or, you know, like, then you start to be more excited about it. And I've always believed that there's 3 levels to the truth. There's understanding it intellectually, experiencing it firsthand, and then being it. And that, like, when you reach those second and third layers, like, someone can say to you meditation is important or compassion focused therapy, cool, but then when you experience it in your life and you see the impact of that, it gives you a credibility that other people do not have. And then when you become it and you're living from that place, it must be a very empowering place to speak from, because it's so authentic. It's not the time anymore to look to other people and kind of place more. It's the time to trust my own intuition and awareness, because the truth is accessible to everyone, and the same stuff he's saying is the same stuff I'm saying, and it's just because we're both doing the work. Sarvasya chaham radhi sannivisto, which means it is I, the supreme being, or the infinite consciousness that is seated within the heart of all creatures as the inner controller of all. So it's the same thing that you're saying, that divinity that lights up me is lighting up you too. And so that means we're connected, but we're also different expressions of that same underpinning of humanity.
Yes.
And it's a radical thing to trust that. I haven't left this country, I haven't been on any planes, but I've traveled very far inside myself. this mixtape has really helped me to understand like who I am for the world and who I am for the people around me, the people that I'm working for, my sisters, my brothers, my cousins, my nephew, my uncles, my aunties, my grandmother, my parents, my dog, my squad, everyone that I'm working with. Because when I get a phone call from someone who is close to me and they're asking me for support with their mindset, with their belief systems, and I'm the one that they're coming to, that's when I realize the power that I have and the calling that I have to support people. And that's why I'm privileged to do this work. And this is the thing, like, we walk around all the time with ourselves as the main character in our mental movies. Everyone's reacting not to the situations that we're in, but our experience of it. And that is more about us than anyone else around us. And when we are the main character of our movie and we're walking around thinking from my position, my needs, my doubts, my fears, we become selfish. We become all about us. It's all about ego. But when we start to think about other people and the struggles they're going through, our focus changes, and that service, it uplifts us and it allows us to become greater characters. It's that quote that I love from the Dalai Lama: when we reach beyond the narrow confines of our own self-interest, our hearts become filled with strength, our mind becomes filled with strength. So that's what I want to aspire towards, is reminding myself that it's not that serious, like I said before, but also think of it from someone else's perspective. Someone is praying for what I take for granted. Someone is going through a greater struggle than I am, and I can support that individual. So find a way to lose yourself and find yourself in the service of other people. I met this guy called Nipun Mehta recently, and he really inspired me by talking about creating circles all the time. I was watching, observing, learning from this leader. And one of the things that I noticed was constantly he was creating spaces, circles, where people could share, safe spaces that anyone can join or leave as and when they wish to. But it's a space where he was asking questions like, what do you think about this? What do you think about this? Rather than seeing himself as the oracle of everyone's being and the main leader, he was a catalyst for everyone else's leadership. And one thing that I learned from my friend Ishani was not everyone is present until they're spoken, and he embodied this quality so magnificently that he's constantly thinking of, how can I add value to this person? How can I add value to this person? I asked him a question, when you're the leader giving to everyone else, how do you sustain that? How do you do that in a way where you don't burn out? Because I've suffered that before, I've felt that before. And what he said is, you have to develop in yourself such a clarity of thinking, such a clarity of your habits and your systems and your processes, mentally, emotionally, spiritually, that you're able to filter those things out as soon as they come towards you. And that's the thing you have to work to cultivate. And it takes work. It takes work all of the time. So yeah, it's okay to be messy. It's okay to be imperfect. It's okay to have flaws. You're a human being, not a machine. It's okay if you don't always have everything figured out, if you have these unresolved problems and agendas. It's okay to be both a work in progress and a masterpiece at the same time, to be the student and the master. It's okay if you haven't found your path yet. It's okay if you got lost on your path. It's okay if you got heartbroken, if you abused or were abused. It's okay to lose someone. It's okay to do the wrong thing and feel shame. It's all part of this beautifully human experience. And if you listened this far, man, I just want to say thank you for your time and attention. You are bombarded by so many things out there, and choosing to listen to my voice, my journey, my ideas is genuinely a huge gift. And I hope that this mixtape and listening has been as transformational and cathartic as it has been for me. Go out there, make a difference, follow and find your inner compass, and keep being the best version of you that you can truly and possibly be. Peace.
In the outside world, there are all kinds of brands, companies, people fighting for your attention, fighting for your power. And some of you are giving it freely. I can't control what you do next. I can't control who you follow next. I can't control where your life goes next. What I can control is in the next 8 minutes what I give you. The energy that I leave on the table, and I can guarantee you that there is no way that any circumstance, any change that I might have experienced, any challenge I go through is gonna stop me from pouring into you. That's why we came today. Today's day of change has just begun. You've taken the first step towards that future version of you, of the highest possibility, the future leader. But like I said before, some of you are gonna lose that in a week. Some of you are gonna keep building on that in a week. And that choice is only yours. How many people in this room know someone who has a body image issue? How many people in this room know someone that is struggling every day? And the difference between a follower and a leader is you don't have to ask a leader. A leader is proactive. A leader understands without being explained to. Change doesn't happen in isolation. Leadership, growth doesn't happen in isolation. Some of you are going to step up and become leaders. And that's what I'm interested in. Is if you're ready to become a leader, I want you to join me. If you're ready to step up, I want you to join the best future version of you that's within you already, and I want you to start ripping that boy outside. Because the impact you can create, the change you can create, the lives you can touch, it is phenomenal. But you have to make that choice. So that's what I want to know is, when you leave today, how many of you are going to step up?
There's more to life than increasing its speed or quantity. If you're willing to slow down and be open to it, there's a great deal that you can really learn from nature. The lessons are all around us, and they're not just reserved for the special, privileged few. From even the smallest of leaves to the largest, oldest trees, they're all great teachers in some way. We talk about change as if it's always coming from outside, as if it's always dependent on something external. If only I had more money, more resources. The time isn't right. I'm not ready yet. But all of these things, they focus on external things, external reasons why change isn't possible. The focus is on the outside. Ultimately though, it's about you and you alone. The continuous and honest pursuit of any quality is what truly matters. Because if you search long and earnestly enough, you will find what you seek. Just like the roots of a tree burrowing deep into the darkness of the soil to find nutrition and water. It doesn't have a map, it doesn't have a guide, but it finds its way, trusting itself to create light from within to find the way, trusting its thirst for growth. If there is any truth in this world, then it has to exist, not just in holy buildings and great books, but in the small things, the simplest of things. You can learn just as much from observing a tree or a leaf or from running water as you can from the oldest and most ancient scriptures that we have. I mean, look at the way that nature is constantly changing, evolving, and adapting. Isn't life like that? Look at the cycles of seasons. Everything goes through constant growth, then constant decay. Ups and downs, peaks and valleys. Isn't life like that? Look at water. Even though it's fluid and you can't grab a hold of it, it can wear down and erode the roughest, most jagged rocks, yet it remains flexible, malleable, and adaptable. What if you tried to be like that in your own life, in your own relationships, adapting like water to the needs of others? So just like the bee gathering pollen from different flowers, absorb what's useful, discard what isn't, then add what is uniquely your own. There's lessons everywhere. You just need to observe.